Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Guys, we need some energy. We are going to talk about money. Anybody interested in money? Economic, financial prosperity? So let's talk about that. So just giving you a little bit context, whenever we are talking about a course correction and defining the direction, what does it take? Any idea? Intent? Anything else? Strategy? Roadmap? There's one thing, a very, very fundamental thing. Success criteria. Learnings, implementation. We need a very bold leader to define something new, right? When you are changing something, right, you are defining a new course, you are defining a new direction, it takes courage. It's easy to have that discussion. It's very difficult to have that courage to challenge the status quo and move to a new direction where uncertainty is there, where we don't know what the success measure will look like. It's anybody's best guess. But we have still seen that happen in the history. People who were determined enough, they put together that team, they had that vision, they had the intent, they learned new things, they stayed very, very flexible, and they changed the course of the direction of the entire nation. So here we are talking about the word correction, so definitely there is a stuff which we are going to talk, which may not be right today, which may be excellent and relevant 10, 15, 20 years back, but now it might require a change. And change requires courage. And that comes from the leaders who do not predict future, who create future. So starting from that very basic, if we can have the slides here. Thank you. So what happened? Let's set the context first. In the last 5, 10 years, there are two major items which have changed and which are impacting the economy and the nation. The one is the technology side, and the second is the crisis we have seen on the climate side. Now, every crisis could be an opportunity if we get the right leaders in a room and they start talking about what to do. We have seen in a very, very recent past where one crisis brought the entire nation together and created a very solid brand for Pakistan, which has created, again, opportunities for us around the world. But it happened not because there was a crisis, because there was a leadership who was courageous enough, bold enough, visionary enough to pick up that crisis and convert that into an opportunity. And that's exactly what we are going to talk today. So when we talk about the climate smart economy, what exactly we are going to talk, where the economy has got a very fundamental structure. Any economy, any nation, whenever we talk about that, what the economic prosperity look like, it's based on these 8 components, starting from education, competitiveness, innovation, technology, economic output. We talk about the share in a global trade. We talk about the military strength, the financial market, and the reserve currency. So these are the fundamental 8 components which define where we are. And based on that, we identify our journey, where we are in that journey. We are at the journey where we have got working on a higher share in a global economy, or we are at the stage where our currency should be considered as a reserve currency. And you can see that shift in the last 20, 25 years, where there was one single economic power, and now we are seeing multiple economic powers emerging. And some of the economic powers are not even visible right now, but they are also emerging because they have delinked and redefined their course, and they are defining a new action and direction for themselves as well as in the region. So if we look at Pakistan, so we have got the 4 key areas where we stand today. we recommend to focus. It's the education, it's the competitiveness, it's the innovation technology, and financial markets. And when we are sitting in Pakistan and we talk about the financial market, sometimes it's not something which everybody can digest, but I think Pakistan is sitting on a certain opportunity right now where we can act not only for ourselves, but we can set the criteria and an example that how this financial market and a new financial market which is emerging can be leveraged to really fund that education, competitiveness, and innovation and technology. And when we talk about education, we are not talking about education only like the traditional education. We are talking about skills. We are talking about our behaviors. We are talking about our attitude. We are talking about the leadership here. And again, if we look at the overall examples, we have seen Bangladesh picked up one area and they changed their course of direction. If we pick up Rwanda, which was practically a war-ridden area, they picked up one or two items and they changed their course of direction. We picked up Vietnam, which has gone through the war and everything, and we look at that, and they have changed their course direction, and they have changed that, they have redefined their KPIs as well as how they would like to be known in the country, in the world. So we are not talking about something which hasn't happened in the past. And we are not talking something which Pakistan has not done in the past either. We are talking just to recognize where the opportunity, where to focus. We can't do everything in the same time. So if we are looking at the time frame, the things have to be done in a very focused way and collectively. Again, we have got a very interesting dimensions. And again, we will talk about this as a crisis first. We have seen floods. We have seen droughts. We have seen very recently the change of climate, how it has impacted wheat as a produce. But at the same time, if we look at, do we have a plan? We talked about that we need a plan. So we do have a plan. We are talking about agriculture, we are talking about inclusion, we are talking about urban resilience, we are talking about human capital, disaster risk management, and there's a plan which exists out there. And it's not only a plan, it has got the details, it's submitted, it's a commitment from the government side. So it exists. So it's not that we don't have plan or initiative or we don't know where the priorities are. It's already identified. Natural capital is already recognized, the forestation and the biodiversity as one of a key priority in our climate priorities as well as national adaptation plan. Then if we look at the foundation, and that's where we have to start working, whenever we talk about the investment, the first thing come to play, and that was discussed yesterday as well, it's the trust and the partnership. No country has really survived or progressed unless until there is a public-private partnerships. And we have seen a lot of public-private partnership failures in Pakistan. But you will be surprised there are certain public-private partnerships in Pakistan which is creating right now a global benchmark how things should be done. That includes the Sindh People's Housing Project for flood affectees. It includes Sutra Punjab as one of a waste management. So we are seeing those areas which are very much climate focused. The start is basically to provide a citizen service, but right now it's the best benchmark how the public-private partnership can work with such a constrained resources and can create such a huge scale, speed, and scope which become a global benchmark. Similarly, if we look at the domestic investment, the sectoral breadth, we can't invest in everything. We have to, again, prioritize that, and then we have to channelize that capital to that direction. And every sector at the moment we need to pick has to be climate resilient, enough climate resilient to sustain that one. Agriculture, water scarcity, even the talent development, human capital development, everything has to be directed or linked with how we can make sure any climate-induced disaster should not destroy that sector or industry, and there has to be a value chain concept. No industry can survive in its isolation unless until there is a complete value chain integration. If we talk about the automobile as an industry, we need somebody to really manufacture tire, nuts, bolts, steel, vendor ecosystem, and we have seen that happen in Pakistan as well. Or we can talk about value integrations or a value chain integration in the region. So value chain integration is another step which is important to mobilize the domestic investment. And then another piece I'll just pick up as a part of that conversation. In a recent past, we are not talking about the small amount which is allocated to Pakistan. We are talking about 15, 20, 30 billion dollars which exist out there for Pakistan in next 5 to 10 years. The question is, are we ready to really access that funding? What does it take? Are we ready? Do we have a regional or local frameworks to access that kind of financial support which exists out there and allocated? It's not the money which we have to go and get it allocated. The money is already there. We need those projects or provide them with the project pipeline where that domestic investment and this international investment can work together and create a massive scale, large scales project which are climate resilient and can really contribute towards the prosperity of the country. And luckily, the entire framework is already there. So the Pakistan has already gone through that climate finance strategy. Pakistan has got the carbon market policy. But the most important part which is required to access that funding is called taxonomies. Very recently, Pakistan has got that taxonomy in place. We have got green banking initiative from the State Bank, and we have got SECP ESG disclosures as well as the labeled bonds which exist out there. So if we go back, this is the international money sitting there. This is the framework which already in place. What we need to do? What do you think? What is required now? And what does that implementation will require? Leaders. So we need those leaders because it's not a regular product. But luckily, we have seen very recently in UAE, for the private sector, they have disbursed $10 billion using sustainability-linked loans as one of our instruments. We have seen in UAE, they have allocated 1 trillion dirham to be invested in the green projects, not only in UAE, they are open to invest that in other countries as well. We have seen in Pakistan where the State Bank is asking that at least tell us how green is your portfolio, and by November, every project they want to fund through the banking channel or DFI channel, they would like to evaluate whether there is an environment and social risk, how the environment and social risk is there. So if we put everything together, so we are seeing the successes in the different part of the world. If you look at Pakistan, there is a framework which is already there. We are seeing a couple of large groups who are going to use ESG as one of a vehicle to really channelize or do the capital allocation accordingly. So if all that is happening, so on the other side of the table, we have to start looking for those projects and the businesses to get ready and start accessing that fund. If I tell you, in Pakistan, we talk a lot about the funding and availability of the funding. When we talk on a global forum, all the funds and the financial institutions and the private equity side, and the public funds as well, they are all talking about, guys, we are unable to deploy our money, right? So their issue is that they have got fund and they cannot deploy that fund because there are not enough projects which are aligned with the key criteria which provides the climate mitigation, adaptation, and resilience. Only European Investment Bank is short by 20 to 30 billion euro deployment every year for last 3 years just because they don't have enough project pipeline. So it's a very different issue. There is a projects, there are people who want to access money and they can't, and there are people who are sitting with the big money and they can't find those particular projects to invest in. The role comes here for the banks, for the DFIs, for the financial institution, financial services, to create those financial instruments which can help to channelize that capital and allocate using the Pakistan Green Taxonomy to the right projects. And the second part, from a business side, they need to implement that data and the measuring, verification, and reporting tools to make sure whatever the criteria they are going to commit, they should be able to report it back. And luckily, SECP has already provided that guideline, how to report and what to report. So now, leaders sitting in this room have some role to play to bring everything together and create that opportunity for capital allocation to the right project alongside with the proper MRV, which is measurement, reporting, and the verification process. And we are good to go. But again, it will require that leader or those type of leader who are not predicting the future, but they are there to create one for us and for generations to come. So thank you very much for listening. This is the context we will be using for our conversation, and then we will open the forum for question answers. So I'll invite, and I'll sit there and I'll invite Faraz to share his global perspective. He just coming from Canada. He was in the Middle East region as well. He was in Europe recently. So what they are seeing in the different part of the world, what's happening, what we can learn from them. So I'll come to you, Faraz.